This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, it's Jeff Gardner. Welcome you to a very special Sports Catastrophe video for today, November the 3rd, 2021. And it's a hail to the Atlanta Braves, despite the fact I was picking Houston for the World Series. Now, there were a lot of factors about why I didn't pick Atlanta to win the World Series. Well, one is that I figured Houston was needing to prove that they were that good without having to cheat. And I almost was right. Number two was the whole snowflake SJW thing that, the Braves are politically incorrect, if you will. And, Atlanta had that voting issue that forced Atlanta to lose the All-Star game to Colorado. And I figured that, everyone was going to go against Atlanta because of how backward thinking Georgia people have been with the whole voting process bullshit and all that. I mean, to the Atlanta people, I say the Republicans lost. You have a chance to get the House of Representatives or whatever you want and the governors next year, but you'll have to wait 3 years because even if Biden croaks, Kamala Harris is going to be VP and you're going to have to bow down to a woman president for the first time. And also why I didn't pick Atlanta. Well, this was not said to me, or I didn't even clue in, but I found out that Atlanta only won 88 freaking games in the regular season. 88. And how many did the Blue Jays win? 91. I mean, the Blue Jays won 91 and didn't even make the wild card game. They were a game short. Those pesky Red Sox and those pesky Yankees had to face each other in the one-game playoff. The Blue Jays could have made things a whole lot interesting if they had, they swept Baltimore if Boston hadn't choked that lead to the Washington Nationals. It was just pathetic. So anyway, Boston deserved better. Well, in a sense. But the Blue Jays deserved better. Now, I'm going to spat out some stuff about the Atlanta Braves with their winning. 88 wins. That's not the most, at least, by a World Series winner. 82 is the record set by the 2006 Cardinals, who somehow won Game 7 in the NLCS at Chase Stadium against the Mets, even though Andy Chavez made that great catch in the 7th inning of Game 7 because of Yadi freaking Molina. So anyhow, yeah, that was just putrid and all that. But I mean, yeah, 88 wins. Freak. And the Jays can't even get into the AL playoffs with 90. I mean, still. I mean, Atlanta had lost their main guy, Ronald Acuna Jr., to injury. And then Anthopaulos made some great trades at the deadline and got some key players. He got Jock Peterson. I think he got Eddie Rosario, if memory serves me right. But I mean, yeah, the 2021 Atlanta Braves, I mean, yeah, they won the World Series and all that. But I mean, I guess in a sense, I am a little bitter. And I have a right to be bitter. Because now I've become 1-3 in the annals of picking the big four sports: baseball, basketball, football, hockey. The only one I hit was hockey. Basketball, I went with my heart instead of my head and picked Phoenix over Milwaukee. And then I'm thinking Kansas City will beat Tampa. I mean, Tom Brady can't win every Super Bowl. And I was kind of pissed off that, Tom Brady left New England. But little did I know I was down for the count again. I mean, how can this team win 88 games and win the division? I mean, they picked up Marcell Ozuna on a 4-year deal. Well, they re-signed him. Well, they picked up Josh Tomlin, Drew Smyly, and Charlie Morton on 1-year deals. And then Marcell Ozuna was there. The Braves won 88 games. They were 6.5 up on the Philadelphia Phillies, who were the only other team in the NL East to be above 500. Washington sunk to 65. The Braves won 88 games, which is funny because the wild card match between the Dodgers and the Cardinals, they both won more games than the Braves. So, yeah, even St. Louis. I mean, Atlanta was 6-14 against the American League. You're thinking, well, they're not that good. The weird thing is how inconsistent they were to start the year. April, May, June, and July, they were a combined one game below 500. Yeah, they were one game below 500. And then in August, they would go on this 18-8 tear, which includes 12-2 on the road. And then September and October, they were 18-12. Okay, fair enough. Well, Marcell Ozuna screwed himself over. He was charged with aggravated assault by strangulation and battery after police allegedly witnessed him grabbing his wife by the neck and threw her against the wall. So Marcell Ozuna's career is basically done for. I mean, what can you say? I mean, he fucked everything up. I mean, when you look at the lineups for Atlanta, well, they went to the LDS against the Milwaukee Brewers. They were the road team because the Brewers won more games than the Braves. They lost game 1 to the Brew Crew, but then they won 3-0, 3-0, 5-4. With Smith picking up all 3 saves. In the NLCS against the defending champion Dodgers, the Dodgers took them 2 out of 3 in LA, but Atlanta was hosting LA because Atlanta had won the division and LA had won the wild card. So Atlanta got to host the LCS. And they were an El Perfecto 3-0 at home. So they were 5-0 at home on the playoffs until they lost game 5 of the World Series. So they were 7-1 in the postseason at home, 4-4 on the road. Wow. That's just amazing what home sweet home is. Yeah, they've got Jock Peterson, Eddie Rosario, Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall. There were huge pickups and all that. So, yeah, it was like, what the heck is going on? So, yeah, the Braves had a good time going. And I mean, they almost screwed everything up with Marcell Ozuna being an idiot. But of course, let's all talk about the general manager, one Alex Anthopaulos, who's the first Canadian-born GM to win a World Series title. I mean, this guy's career actually started out as he was an unpaid intern sorting players' fan mail in 2000. He was 23 when he had that job. After working in the mailroom, he would sit with the scouts at games and take notes and moved to a scouting internship in Florida. And then he was made to be Expo's scouting coordinator. And then he would leave at the end of 2003 as the assistant scouting director to go work for the Blue Jays, who had him as their scouting coordinator. And then after 2005, he was promoted to assistant GM under J.P. Ricciardi. And with him being assistant general manager under Ricciardi, they got Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion. Everyone knows about the Ricciardi thing, that he basically overpaid for Ferdinand Wells and a few other players, including B.J. Ryan. But the fact of the matter is that Anthopaulos had a renaissance. I mean, Bautista and Encarnacion were just languishing in Pittsburgh and Cincy, respectively. We got Jose Bautista for the one of minor league prospect catcher Robinson Diaz, and Encarnacion was traded for Scott Rowland. So, yeah, Anthopaulos knew what to do. He became the GM in 2009 after Ricciardi was fired. And so he did. He began his tenure as the GM by making a giant trade. His first major trade was traded away Doc Holliday to Philadelphia for Kyle Drabek, Michael Taylor, and Travis d'Arnaud. Of course, d'Arnaud was a decent guy. Kyle Drabek sucked. Michael Taylor sucked. But d'Arnaud was good for another team, though. With Anthopaulos at charge in 2010, I mean, it was a good draft for the Blue Jays. They got Aaron Sanchez and Noah Syndergaard. And got 85 wins, which was pretty decent. And 257 home runs, which was the third highest single total ever at that point. And then Anthopaulos traded Ferdinand Wells and his massive contract to the LA Angels for Mike Napoli and Juan Rivera. And then flipped Napoli to Texas for Frank Francisco. And then traded Juan Rivera to LA. And then in 2011, he got Colby Rasmus from the Cardinals, and he was a decent player for Toronto. And he traded Jason Frazier to the White Sox for Edwin Jackson and Mark Teahan. Didn't work out. Then Edwin was traded with Corey Patterson, Mark Strzemski, and Octavio Dotel to St. Louis for Rasmus, Talent, and Trevor Miller. Of course, Edwin Jackson, Strzemski, and Dotel was part of the 2011 team that won the title. So anyway, Anthopaulos was the guy who made two major blockbusters in 2012. Training with the Marlins to acquire Jose Reyes, Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, John Buck, and Emilio Bonifacio in exchange for Yunel Escobar, who fell out of favor for that eye black thing. Henderson Alvarez, Jeff Mathis, and prospects. And then Anthopaulos got R.A. Dickey from the Mets, who was the reigning NL Cy Young winner for Travis d'Arnaud, Noah Syndergaard, and John Buck. Toronto also got Josh Tolle, which was good. Dickey helped it out. The Blue Jays choked. They should have been great with those acquisitions, but they failed. Anthopaulos in 2015 was huge. I mean, before the season, he traded Brett Lawrie to the A's for Josh Donaldson. Then he got Troy Tulowitzki from the Rockies for Jose Reyes and a few stiffs. And then he got David Price from the Tigers for Daniel Norris and a couple of stiffs. And it worked out. The Blue Jays won 43 of their final 61 games to win the AL East, getting to the playoffs, losing the ALCS to the Royals. Unfortunately, Anthopaulos did reject the 5-year extension from the Jays in October 2015. And speculation was that due to belief he would not have full autonomy under new President CEO Mark Shapiro. It's not about autonomy, he said. It's about collective success. Unfortunately, though, Shapiro kind of screwed himself up. Anthopaulos went to LA to be the vice president of baseball operations, and then a year and a half later, he was hired to be executive VP and GM of the Atlanta Braves. He got a contract extension last year to 2024. So amazing. I mean, he's won a trophy as the first Canadian-born GM. I mean, I do hate him because he left Toronto, but I guess because of fucking Shapiro and all that shit. So, anyway. So, the Braves, this is their 4th title in history. Now you'll be thinking, hang on, they've only won 2 titles, 95 and 2021. Right, as the Atlanta Braves. Bear in mind, they used to be called the Boston Braves and won the championship in the miracle year of 1914, in which at the halfway point, they were in last place in the National League and then somehow won the National League and then won the World Series. I think it was against the Athletics, the Philly A's. Can't remember. But anyhow, yeah. And then the franchise moved to Milwaukee in 1953, becoming the first NL team to move ranks from one city to another. And then 4 years later, in 1957, they shot the Yankees to win the World Series. Although in 58, they choked the World Series because they were up 3-1 on the Yankees, but they choked it. And then of course you got 95, the team of the 90s finally getting their title after being denied so many times and all that. I still say Atlanta's division title streak has an asterisk to it. I mean, if 94 was played to its conclusion, the Braves would have a smaller streak. I think that they still would have had the record. But still, I mean, like, to claim that, oh, 94 doesn't exist, Montreal fans would be pissed to the core. But Anthopaulos won the title, so, yeah, what can you do? Get pissy about it, but that's just me. I have a right to be salty, don't I? Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.